The MP for Dorset, Richard Drax, has confirmed that the young man in the bibby Stockholm died by suicide yesterday morning. He says it's a tragedy born of an impossible situation. One can only imagine the desperate circumstances which led to this sad outcome. We must do all we can to end this evil trade in human misery. And there have been previous suicide attempts on the bibby Stockholm, and in October a 23-year-old Nigerian man attempted suicide in a car park outside the Essex Hotel where he was kept, and this was after he had been informed that he was going to be transferred to the bibby Stockholm. It's the 39 people were originally transferred to the barge, and they wrote in August talking about the harrowing experience of being transferred there, having fled war and persecution. And the letter that they sent said that there had been one suicide attempt on board the vessel, so that probably makes 3. And this whole attempt to signal some sort of deterrent by keeping people in inhumane and appalling conditions, by keeping people in a limbo of uncertainty because the Home Office is too lazy and too ideologically unsound to process the applications. And I don't quite know why there's such a delay. This is not something new. This goes back to Theresa May and to the beginning of what she described as the hostile environment. Refugee charities are blaming the government. The government has blood on its hands. There's no doubt. But refugee charities are blaming the government for failing to take seriously the fact that housing people on barges, putting multiple strangers together in rooms in hotels, people who have been fleeing war and persecution, this has an adverse effect on people's mental health. And we're going to be dealing with that. You know, this is going to cost us money down the lane, down the road. When these people finally are granted asylum, we've got to deal with the psychological impact of the way that we have treated these people. And instead we could have welcomed them and offered them hope and sanctuary and a new life and jobs, and they could have been already making a contribution to our society, paying tax, and invested in making Britain great. Instead, we're nurturing a fifth column of people who will resent this country. Is this the best we can offer? And I really don't think it is. These are people who we are separating from the rest of society. These are people who we are inflicting with a further bout of serious mental health. And we are not supporting these people. We are vilifying them, and we are turning them into a scapegoat for the stupidity of our government. And this isn't about protecting our borders. This is about protecting our country. And our borders can be protected, or could have been protected, had Lord Frost and the twits negotiating Brexit done their job properly. But they haven't done their job properly. They didn't do their job properly. And of course, they're leading the baying wolves, the baying dogs in trying to provide some sort of deflection. This is all distraction from the stupidity and the failure of their inaction. And yes, I think it's a good thing to protect our borders. I think it's a good thing to have control of our borders, but this is not the way to do it. And we have made it as difficult as possible for ourselves, and to transfer that onto people who are coming here is simply not fair. Simply not fair. It's all about passing the buck. And if this were a school situation or a university situation, this is like somebody who hasn't done the homework, who hasn't prepared for the exam, who then blames somebody else in the exam room for their failure.